Okay, I'm going to bring the work session for February 5th to order. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mr. Sabosley, if you would, please.
Okay. First item on the agenda under Planning and Economic Development, Oakmont Country Club. So you can see the first three items on the agenda involve Oakmont Country Club. We did have a public hearing on this last month. Is that right, Sam? Yep. And I don't believe we had any comments, but basically we know that Oakmont Country Club is starting some improvements on their property. And this has gone through Planning Commission, and like I said, we did have a public hearing on the conditional use here last month. So item number one, waiver modification request. Oakmont Country Club has requested two waivers or modifications. The first deals with the way the parking, the new or any parking is striped there. So one of our general requirements for striping is for a parking space. We have double striped parking spaces, and that exhibit is shown in our standards for building and construction. The Planning Commission recommended to Council that that be waived for the area of existing parking, but for the new parking in the back, it would be a double thick line. The second waiver modification deals with the requirement for a traffic study. So the applicant asked Planning Commission to waive the application for a traffic study, a traffic impact study, only because this is being done in a private area where there would be no additional traffic generated by these improvements. So Council is making a recommendation, or staff is making a recommendation to Council that they list these on the agenda, and Council or staff is on board with the Planning Commission that these waivers would be approved.
Any discussion? Any questions? Agenda item?
Item number two is specifically the Oakmont Country Club conditional use application. Oakmont Country Club has submitted an application for the establishment of accessory buildings and uses that are customarily incidental to and a permitted use at the property. There's a paddle hut, a skeet hut, a storage building. There's some stormwater management controls, golf driving range enhancements. These are all related to the property. Planning Commission recommended approval of the conditional use. We did have the, like I said, the public hearing last week, and there were no additional comments. So staff is on board with the Planning Commission, recommend that this be an agenda item, and the Council approve this item.
Any discussion? Questions? Agenda item.
So the last leg of this is the actual land development application. Same improvements that we talked about in item number two for improvement. There are some, Sam, there are conditions, 2 or 3 conditions with this?
Minor conditions, yes.
Right. So this has been through the Planning Commission. I'm not sure those conditions are related to KU Resources letter that they issued. They're minor things, but we're recommending that this appear on the agenda, and staff agrees with Planning Commission that this should be approved.
Any discussion? Questions? Agenda item.
Item number 4, Parkside Estates stop signs. So at last month's council meeting, council accepted the dedication of phase 1 of Parkside Estates. This is sort of a follow-up to that, to officially add the stop signs at 3 locations in phase 1 to our list of stop signs so that the police can enforce those as official stop areas. So an ordinance has been advertised. We have not received any comment on it yet. I don't know if we will, but this is sort of a standard thing that we do when we accept dedication of a new housing plan.
Any discussion? Questions? Agenda item.
Item number 5 is the Perrin-Raschuti lot line revision. The borough has received an application for this lot line relocation up in the Windy Oaks plan of homes. The subject property is 4 Pin Oak Drive. So Windy Oaks has 2 streets, the main road coming in, and then Pin Oak is the cul-de-sac that comes off of that main road.
The house all the way in the back, in the Pin Oak, yeah.
It's, I think as you come into the cul-de-sac, it's on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it is, on the far right, yeah.
So evidently, the property owner at 4 Pin Oak, over time, has built a retaining wall, and that retaining wall has gone a good 20 feet over his property. The application, this lot line relocation, would move that lot line so that the retaining wall is still on the property of 4 Pin Oak. And the other property, which fronts on the main street, what's the name of that street, Sam?
Windy Oak Drive.
Yeah, Windy Oak Drive. Even with the land that they're going to lose, it's still a conforming lot, so there are no zoning problems with that. So this takes care of a problem for the property owner and for the potential owner of the other property, which is a vacant lot, if they wanted to build a house in the future. So all we're doing, the action item, is to accept this application as complete. We're working through this with the applicant, and then hopefully at the March meeting, it'll be ready for approval.
Any discussion? Questions? Agenda item.
Personnel management, item number 6, records retention resolution. Each year, the borough is permitted to dispose of certain old records consistent with the PA Records Retention Act. A resolution is required to dispose of the records which are individually listed in the resolution. Jess has been working on this, putting this together. This is a yearly resolution that council authorizes so we can work with our third-party vendor to shred and dispose of the approved files. So all we're asking is that council pass the resolution that will allow us to do what we do every year and dispose of records that the state allows us to get rid of.
Any discussion?
I just have a question. How many years do you have to hold on to records?
It depends, you know, personnel records, payroll records, they're all different. But the state has a schedule that is specific to various records, and we just follow that schedule.
If you look, Vicki, in the meeting materials, there's the exact years for all the different types of records is listed there.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Agenda item.
Item number 7, COG council delegates. So when council reorganized back in January, one of the items we failed to put on the agenda was our delegates to the Turtle Creek Valley COG. I think in the last 2 years, Paul, you and Mike Doyle were the representatives. So we just need to put this on the agenda so we can appoint people to that body.
Do I have anybody who would like to volunteer to be that person or persons? Sure. Dave? Yeah. Okay, anybody else? Dave? Dave and Dave? Okay, Dave Majernik, we can put that on the motion. Dave Majernik and Dave Seitz.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, agenda item.
Number 8 is an executive session item dealing with employment offers for police officers. Item number 9, appointment of zoning hearing board member. When council had a vacancy, when Mike Doyle resigned from council, we interviewed a number of people for the open council position. And one of the questions we asked those candidates was, would you be willing to serve on a board or commission if you weren't named to the council position? Everyone said yes. The people who weren't named to that, we assigned them to a board or commission. We did have one person, Alan Ayers, was appointed to the zoning hearing board. He has indicated now he does not want to serve that term. We had appointed an alternate to that position, and his name is Andrew Novick. He's very excited to to serve as an alternate, but staff is recommending that we move him into that full-time 5-year term on zoning hearing board,
Comments?
To replace Alan Ayers.
who never really served, he never
Kinda-
came to it.
Yeah, I
Right.
see, yeah.
He was someone who applied for the council.
He interviewed for it, yeah.
And
Yes.
he had said that he would serve on something if he didn't get the position.
He changed his mind.
Yeah, basically. Any other comments?
So that will open up if he gets the appointment, then we'll need to appoint an alternate.
Correct, and I believe that I do have someone, maybe not prepped for next week's meeting, but for the March meeting.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
so you're on it.
Any other comments? Agenda item.
Number 10, library lease with Allegheny Foothills Historical Society. Our library, which the borough owns the library building. The library has, for a number of years, a few years, leased a room to the Foothills Society. We're just finalizing the lease for the 2024 calendar year. The Foothills Society has already signed off on this. Dane had drafted this agreement a year or two ago. So staff is recommending that council vote to execute this agreement. And I think it's about $1,000 a year, and that money goes directly to the library for their general fund.
Wasn't there some issue between
And,
that
so,
getting worked out?
so in the past, there were some issues with the leases. I wasn't involved with it in the past, but I think we've worked things out. I do know in the 2025 lease, the library is looking for a number of things for the Historical Society to do, but they'll negotiate that in the next year.
Okay. Any other comments? Questions? Agenda item.
Number 11, public safety. The item is advertised civil service ordinance changes. So during the last round of hiring of our police officers, the police chief and staff found a number of discrepancies in the civil service ordinance. All we're doing is correcting these items. And these items were minor items about job titles and responsibilities, the process, the items in the order in which the hiring process would work. So civil service is suggests they're meeting this week, next week?
15th.
15th, for something else, but they've already recommended these changes to this ordinance. So we're asking that this ordinance be adopted and these changes be adopted by council at next week's meeting.
Comments? Questions? Agenda item.
Number 12, Sheetz liquor license transfer. So back in 2021, Sheetz on Pine Valley Drive, they had a liquor license transferred to them from outside of the county. So the borough held a public hearing, took comment, and there was no comment that I remember. And that was approved for the transfer of that liquor license to that specific location on Pine Valley Drive. So we all know that Sheetz is building a new structure a few blocks away on Golden Mile Highway. And the owners of Sheetz have asked that we re-adopt a resolution or amend the resolution that was adopted in 2021, simply to specify the new address for the Sheetz building, so they can then send that resolution to the LCB for final approval.
Comments?
Dave,
Questions?
Dave, what's the opening date for that? I've had people asking me when they plan on.
2024? No, I mean, so I think, Sam, spring, summer?
Yeah, most likely anticipated about March or April.
I was gonna say probably
Around
April.
April, as soon as the plants are open, I bet you'll see asphalt being
That
established
kind of
there.
really moved along fast.
That's all they do.
That's all they do,
Build
so,
sheets.
yeah.
And seriously, you look at that and then you look at the Burger King down the road. Burger King.
Remember they tore that
started at the same time, they're barely out of
Tore
the
that
ground.
Kings down less than a year ago. Yeah.
Any other comments? Agenda item.
Item number 13, under Parks and Recreation. If you remember, back in 2023, the borough constructed, made improvements to Renton Park. It was the third phase of improvements. In that phase, we redid the basketball court. We added some utility lines for lighting and cameras. We built 3 pickleball courts, and we purchased a precast restroom. The plan was originally to purchase that precast restroom. During the project, we decided to go out and see if we couldn't build that restroom cheaper than it was available as precast, and we found out that the answer was no. So that restroom was not part of the project that we bid out. And the purchase was made on our CoStar's contract. In November of 2023, staff talked about this purchase. We had already talked to council about the purchase. For some reason or another, it did not make it onto the agenda and was not approved by council. As part of our 2023 audit, I identified this issue with our auditors, that this item had not been taken care of. Their recommendation is simply to send this back to council for approval. So we do have the building on our property. We have paid for it. It was purchased through the CoStar's contract, which does not require a bid. We did follow our purchasing guidelines and got a purchase order internally. So my fault that it didn't make it onto the agenda, but we're asking council to clean this up, and our auditors will be happy if we put this on the agenda for approval.
Comments?
Real quick, Dave, I know this is a little bit different of what you're talking about there, but pertaining to that park, I've had a lot of questions from people saying, when are we gonna do like we do at Learning Mills, have the police officers open it up in the morning and close it at night, or?
So
They asked me that, and they're like wondering, when are we gonna start that?
yeah, I mean, so number one, it's closed right now just for the winter, so
Right.
I'm sure when spring gets here, it'll open. For 2024, the police will open and close it. However, with the camera system that we installed down there, which integrates back to this building, we have the ability to put a lock on there. So the lock is from the same company that integrates with this building. We'll be able to set that on a timer. So we don't have that budgeted, so we'd have to figure that out. But it is a possibility that we could do that automated, both at Larry Mills and at Renton.
Any other comments? Questions? Agenda item.
Number 14, under finance, first item, community leasing partners agreement. So each year, and what happened last month, council approved a master agreement for capital purchases. And what was approved last month was a company called Savista. And we had used them for capital purchases, the financing of that. Recently, Mike Whittico was talking with one of his peers in finance and discovered that there's another company out there that will provide a much better interest rate to us on these leases. So I think that in your packet there was an example, I don't have it on my screen, provided to you, but I want to say that the Savista rate right now is about 8%, and I want to say that the interest rate provided by the new company is, I think, about 5.99%. So Mike showed you in your packet, the purchase of one public works piece of equipment that was $50-some thousand. So over the life of that, the financing of that piece of equipment, we would save approximately $3,000. And that's just on one piece of equipment. So if we buy 5 pieces a year or finance 5 pieces a year, that's $15,000 that we didn't have before. So staff is asking that we approve a new master lease agreement and allow us to explore leasing with the new company at a lower interest rate.
So that rate will stay the same?
Yes, so I'm sure for the year that we have, well, I can't say for sure. When we go to finance or to make an agreement on a certain piece of equipment, that interest rate will be locked in. I mean, if we wait 2 years from now, I'm sure the rates will have changed, but hopefully they've gone down instead of up.
Okay.
We would always have an opportunity to change if they got worse in the future.
Sure, I mean, we're changing, or hoping to change from January to February. Doesn't mean we could change every month if we wanted to, but it does give us a chance to do what is best, right, is to find the lowest interest rate.
Any other comments? Questions? Agenda item.
Item number 15, under Finance, 2024 Asset Disposition List. Every year, staff puts together a list of vehicles and equipment that they want to dispose of, whether they're trade-ins on vehicles. We sell trucks, we sell a whole number of things. So council or staff has submitted its list. That disposition list, should be in your folder. We're just asking that council pass the resolution authorizing staff to put these items up for bid on GovDeals, as we have in the past, for public sale. And we will have to advertise these items in the newspaper still, but it'll just direct people to GovDeals for the identification and bid of those items.
So we have an approximate value listed for everything. Is that something that we want to meet? Or is that just what we're looking at, what it's worth? And then how do we accept, like
Yeah.
if someone comes in less than what our approximate value is?
So approximate value is, we try and use that as our starting price, hoping that bidders will bid up, good for us, right? They keep bidding it. However, in the past, when we've found that there is a piece of equipment, maybe that is pretty old and we have one bid, we've asked council for permission to allow that bid to go through. So for the most part, we don't run into that. And we've had very good luck selling some old vehicles on GovDeals.
Okay, any other comments? Questions? Okay, agenda item.
I have a question. Can we go back to the public safety, the civil service ordinance changes? I've got a question.
Yes.
Can we recommend to the Civil Service Commission some changes? I was reading through some of their changes. And frankly, it seems we've been doing things out of order before, but are we allowed to go back and recommend some changes?
Well, I would, if there's some changes, I would recommend that council just hold off till next month on the adoption until we're in agreement with the language. I don't know how that affects the chief's, I don't think it does affect the chief's schedule for hiring. But certainly, if there are changes, I'd want to, let's just hold off and not adopt this in February, just put it off until March.
I don't know if anybody else read this, but I just got some things,
Is there something specific?
it's got to do with the order of polygraph examination and kind of the language around it.
Okay.
So, I mean, this was set up previously where the polygraph was supposed to have been taken and completed before they come to council for the approval.
So-
And that's never the way it's been done since I've been here, because we oftentimes eliminate candidates afterwards.
So
They're switching the order now.
Well, I think the language in there says that anyone who applies for the position should be given that polygraph. So if you were to follow that, as it's written, if you had 50 people and 50 candidates, you'd be giving 50 polygraph
Yeah,
tests.
I'm not concerned about that.
So
It's
you're
more-
right, they've never followed that in the
Yes.
past. So what we do is we make it a condition. So the conditional offer of employment, one of those conditions is that they pass that polygraph test.
So it's given last.
Yes, but the officers, number one, are on a probationary status. And you are right, Dave, it is given as a condition of employment. It has not been done before council takes action.
So, I don't know, it seems to me that we've had issues with that in the past, and we just waste time by effectively hiring people before they go through this process. And actually, as I see it, it wasn't written where you have to do everyone, it was just the top names they're recommending. Anyhow, I would like to suggest some changes.
Well, would council allow Dave to work with the chief and myself in between now and Monday to,
You can get it resolved.
yeah. Sound good, Dave?
Okay, yeah.
You're just
Okay.
looking to, you want to clarify
top.
The order.
Clarify the
How many
order
is-
and how, who's taking it and,
Right,
you know, what
instead of doing
what
the
the
whole
results
field.
are, because
You just want the top.
it seemed like this language is what we've been doing.
So it may get
It's kind of
tabled.
moving language is what we're doing, but it doesn't seem
We're
like.
not going to do the conditional hire on Monday?
No, that is the plan. So the plan is that Dave and I will work with the chief to see if we can't come up to a resolution on this language,
For future.
and hopefully stay on track for our Monday hires.
Well,
Yeah.
the candidates we're gonna hire should have already been through the process.
They have been, I don't know if they've been given the polygraph.
Well, he can talk to the chief about it and see.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
Well, hopefully they
Dave
can get
would-
it worked out by Monday.
yeah, what Dave's referring to is one we hired the person and then they couldn't pass the polygraph. The option is, the way that, my understanding, the way it's written is, as he pointed out, we had 19 candidates, we'd have to give them all polygraphs ahead of time, and that's ridiculous.
That's not what it
$500,
says.
$600 a
That's not what
pop.
it says. That's not what it says now.
Work with the chief,
Yeah.
and if that doesn't work out by Monday, does that include the candidate that we're supposedly gonna hire this time?
So there's 3 candidates, and
Right, but we're gonna
If we
stagger.
don't change it, we can just keep doing what we're doing,
Well, no,
because we haven't
no,
followed
I'm-
anyway,
I'm-
so.
I'm
it's
good
different
for
me.
changing it, but my question is, if you don't get it worked out to where it's changed, does that affect the 3 people that we're gonna presently hire?
well, like Dave says,
Okay.
we haven't been
Okay.
doing it anyway.
That's, yeah,
Effective.
okay, and we're good.
I don't wanna lose it.
Yeah, well, that's why we've been asking this question.
Thank you.
Okay,
They should have, according to this. Yeah.
you good with that, Dave?
Yeah, can you send me
You good
those
with that?
changes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jerry? Good?
Yeah, I'm just,
That's fine. We'll make sure we get our questions answered before we move any further, that's fine. Okay,
yes, sir, I am,
all right, so we're gonna go back to roads
getting
and
some
equipment
help
and grounds.
navigating the, situation here.
Yep, roads, equipment, and grounds, item number 16 on the agenda, advertise the Abers Creek Road project. This project is also known as the Holiday Park Phase 3 project. This is the rehab and replacement of a culvert and piping down at the intersection of Abers Creek Road and Holiday Park Drive. We've been working with KU Resources on this project for 2 or 3 years on and off. We do have this money budgeted in our 2024 budget. I believe the ARPA funds that we received will pay for this project. So we're just asking for council's permission to advertise this and take bids.
Comments? Questions? Agenda item.
The item number 17, 2024 paving program bid award. Last month, council authorized staff to advertise for bids for the 2024 paving project. Staff worked with KU Resources to put that bid out. We did open the bids on Thursday of last week, and I think the detail sheet is in your packet. I don't have that sheet in front of me, but we received, I think, 8 bids. And, you know, we bid it in 2 parts, as a base bid and an alternate bid. The bids, you know, on base were, you know, as low as $991,000 and as high as $1.47 million. We're pretty happy. If you look at the base bid, the difference between bidder 1 and 2 was about $10,000. So on a $1 million project, you know, we have those bids that close together. I think that tells you the bid specs are pretty decent. When you look at the base bid and the alternate bid, depending on what you accept, you're going to have a different contractor. So if you were to accept the base bid only, Liberoni would be your low bidder at $991,000. If you took the alternate, the number, it would go to Dairy Construction at the price of $1.12 million. And in fact, it's only $3,500 lower than Liberoni on a $1 million project. We talked with Mike Whitico about what we had budgeted for this. We had about $1,025,000 budgeted. However, we do have some reserves in liquid fuels and the street fund. So staff is recommending that we accept both the base and the alternate in the amount of $1,122,991. $958.50 to Dairy Construction. And I will tell you that Public Works is pushing for this. One of the 3 streets on the alternate bid is Clements Road. So it's Clements Road from Renton Road all the way out to Salzburg Road. And that would be tarred and chipped. And Public Works says that road is already a very slippery road, and they feel that the tar and chip would go a long way to helping solve that problem. So the other 2 roads on that would be Ross Hollow Road from New Texas Road over to Old Leechburg Road, and then Harris Road from Ross Hollow Road up to Sardis Road.
And traditionally, we've done this, they usually start like end of summer. They give our Public Works Department time to go out and do anything they need to do to any of these roads before we do the repaving.
Correct. The bid spec specifically said that even though we are awarding this, that construction would not start, Charlie, till August 1st at the earliest?
Yes.
Right. So that does, you're right, Paul, it gives our crew time to finish the storm sewer work. They started the storm sewer work on these roads last fall, but it gives us a chance to replace inlets, replace pipes that need replaced, all prior to paving.
Any comments?
Got a question, maybe it's, I'll send it to Bruce or somebody. Are we responsible for the condition of that tar and chip road after it's done in lieu of an accident? What I'm thinking about is mainly motorcycles. But a lot of these roads, I noticed, at one time they used to seem to pack that stuff down pretty good, but lately, at least out here, there's piles of gravel. And I'm just curious as to.
The answer's, when you add those additional facts to it, you could probably hold the contractor in, if it's not properly packed down. But that remains to be seen. That's what the fact situation has to develop. But if you can prove that the contractor failed to properly pack it down, I'd say you'd have a claim against the contractor as well as the borough.
Any other questions?
So the additional 97,000 to do this is all, you said it's money we have elsewhere?
It is, and that $97,000 may not be accurate, so when I wrote that, so it's the difference, can I see that again, Paul?
I think it's like 130.
Yeah, so it's like 130, so it's the difference between 1,122,000 and their base bid of 1,001,000, so.
991.
Oh yeah, no, so we're gonna, yes, yeah,
122.
yep, I have the wrong number. So we do have it in our reserve fund in both liquid fuels and the road fund. And those are reserves we had from previous years.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, agenda item.
Last item, number 18 under roads, equipment and grounds, Whispering Pines Pond retrofit change order number 1. In 2022, we received a grant from the state to retrofit ponds. We identified the Whispering Pines housing plan. There are 2 ponds there that had never been, maintained going back. When was that plan built, Dave? 2005. So we did bid out the retrofit and removal of sludge from those ponds. The grant amount was about $73,000. The borough had budgeted another, $40,000 or $50,000 for that job. So we definitely have the funds. The contractor is asking for a change order number 1 in the amount of $18,200 for the additional sludge that was removed from the pond. That $18,200 is based on a unit price that existed in the contract. So we have a unit price on how that would be charged. We did have a representative from HRG Engineering on site to verify these quantities as they were being removed. So staff is recommending that change order number 1 be approved in the amount of $18,200.
Is this one of our ponds?
It is, so
So we can't get their HOA involved in?
no, so when Whispering Pines was built, the borough was accepting, all the ponds, starting in about 2016, 2017 with Autumn Ridge. The developer there didn't want to dedicate the ponds to us, and we were happy with that. They're going to maintain them, and I think every housing plan that's come through since then, the HOAs are maintaining that. So this is one of ours that was dedicated and accepted by Plum Boro, and we are responsible for maintaining it. So a lot of sludge came out of there after, 20 years of.
They did a wonderful job. Looks very nice.
It's all your fault.
Drive past
It's all
every day,
your
looks
fault.
great.
Any other questions or comments?
Just clarification from myself, these are retention ponds?
Correct.
Okay. I thought we were talking about frog ponds or something.
No.
Neighborhood.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, agenda item. That takes us to the end of our agenda. Does anybody in the, sitting out here want to say anything or address council?
I would like to know how I get a copy of the agenda prior to the work meetings.
So we, for a number of years, the agenda appears on our website at 4 o'clock on the day of the meeting. So that's council's policy on how we've published that in the past.
Okay. On Plum Boro website?
Yeah, if you talk to Jessica after the meeting, she'll be able to help you so you know where those are.
Be great.
Anything else? Okay, adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Yes,
Second.
second.
I have a second, a first by Mr. Majernik, a second by Mr. Schlock. We are adjourned. All in favor?
Turn your microphone.
Turn your microphones